This is Rick. He didn't want to be filmed today, but you pressed play again, and there he is, driving down an empty night highway. The engine is dead, the headlights are out, and a bright white light hangs over the hood. Rick steps out of the car, and at that moment he is caught by a beam. Not hot, but holding Rick's body in the air. It all looks like something out of a TV show, but it's happening in all seriousness. Rick wakes up in a room with no corners, seams, or sounds. No windows, doors, or ventilation. The air is neutral in temperature, saturation, and smell. At first, it seems like nothing is happening, but even the slightest movement of a finger causes a change in the lighting. Rick is not restrained, but they are not letting him go either. This is quarantine, the same precaution we take when coming into contact with an unknown life form. Before touching it, you need to figure out if it is toxic, infectious, or dangerous. The aliens don't approach, they're watching. Meanwhile, the room has changed. Sensors descend from the ceiling, flashes of light, sounds, changes in humidity, and pressure fill the air. Everything is recorded. Rick's pupillary response, the electrical activity of his skin, his heartbeat. Rick isn't being tortured, but he's being studied as a system. We do the same thing if we want to understand how an alien organism works. The next step is neurostimulation. No touch, no electrodes, just a helmet that reads brain activity in real time. Rick is shown images. The volume is turned up, the colors are changed. His brain reacts, and every response is recorded. Fear, anxiety, arousal, disgust. We also study emotions in animals to determine what constitutes instinct and what constitutes consciousness. Then comes the collection of samples. One of the humanoids, still not physically approaching, separates a hair from Rick's shoulder. Rick tenses, expecting aggression, but the sample is taken with the utmost precision and care. The aliens are looking for DNA, bacteria, microbes, anything that explains what we're made of. We'd do the same to this humanoid if we landed on its planet. After the physiological assessment, behavioral testing began. Rick was placed in a room that resembled his apartment, but with some minor details. The furniture was slightly elevated, the water flowed upward, and the sounds were slightly distorted. This wasn't a simulation, it was an experiment. They were testing how quickly a person notices a discrepancy and what they do when they realize it's false. Rick began to pretend everything was fine. This was an interesting result, and it was also recorded. At some point, he was given an interaction. An object. It was a smooth sphere with a single button. No instructions, no labels. He pressed it. Nothing. Then again. The chair disappeared. Once again. Gravity shifted. This was testing whether he, as a biological system, could understand the logic of the object. It was a reverse engineering experiment. We give similar tasks to animals, machines, or children when we want to test their ability to learn without prompting. At some point, a message appears on the wall. You are not aggressive. Contact is possible. This is a signal that the test has been passed, and now the aliens are ready to show who they are. A humanoid comes to Rick and explains with the power of his mind that he is not from another planet, but from the very distant future. 1,000,000 years later, the Earth has changed. People have adapted and rebuilt, language has disappeared, and their voices have lost their function, but technology has allowed them to go back in time. Not to enslave or save, but to understand what ancient man is like through a real-life example. When it was all over, Rick was once again immersed in the beam and carefully returned to where he disappeared. Everything looked as if nothing had happened, and who would believe such a thing anyway? Only in his pocket was the same ball with the button. Rick pressed it. Nothing happened. Or simply, it hasn't happened yet. Support him by subscribing. Perhaps they're still watching him.